Welcome back to STL Live. I'm Sarah Thompson, and we're joined by Dr. Toniya Singh, learning how women can battle gender inequality in the workplace and advocate for themselves. And one of the points we kind of briefly touched on in the last segment, but I want to pick back up on, is this sort of mentorship and networking. You say that women don't do enough of this. Is that right?
I really do feel that as women, we tend to be very focused on our jobs and then very focused on our homes. And sometimes networking is not necessarily seen as an important function of our work. But I think there's so much advantage to be had by networking with other men and women in our profession. I think we learn from their strategies, and we find people who are like-minded. We find people who've had many experiences that might help us, and we find mentors and sponsors. And it's extremely difficult to find a mentor and sponsor unless you're willing to put yourself out there. You know, kind of be outside your comfort zone, meet new people who may or may not want to help you. But at least this way, you get a chance to learn from other people, and I think it is time that's, in my experience, been very well spent. Because what I get back from the time that I spend meeting new people, it has helped me grow.
Because it can be quite tricky, I think. And again, I'm going to probably go against your first point to say as a woman, but when you are in fact a woman and the idea of reaching out for help or guidance, I think some women are afraid that it might seem as if in the process of doing so, they're seen as somehow less capable. When men do it, of course, all the time. And I know I'm going against the first premise, which is to think of yourself always as a woman. But do you see that a lot is why women don't reach out as much?
I completely agree, actually. I think as a woman, sometimes it is very uncomfortable to reach out. And you wonder how the other person is going to perceive you. They'll see, are you insecure? Are you unsure of your skills? Or are you just truly just reaching out because you want to learn from that person? And I think the more you do it, the easier it gets, like anything else. I think the first time I ever went up to a professor at an important national meeting and asked them some questions, or asked them how I wanted to write a certain paper and how would I do that, I felt very uncomfortable. I felt like that person was so important, they're so busy. And that person was very gracious, and they were happy to help me. And that's the other thing you learn, is that the more people you meet, there are many people who want to help you, and they're happy to help you. And there's some people who don't want to help you. That's okay. You know, it's just like life. So I think that if you don't ask, just to sit around and wait for somebody to extend a hand of help is not going to happen. So I think we sometimes give up opportunities. If somebody asks you to do something, I think sometimes just taking the challenge and putting yourself out there, and even though it's not something that you like to do or it's outside your comfort zone, I think once you do that a few times, you will feel a lot more comfortable doing it in the future.
Well, that's a great intro in terms of taking risk and being bold, because you have now brought here the chapter, the Women in Cardiology Missouri chapter. You started that, correct?
Right, we did. I did, and I have a council of women who started the chapter with me. And the Women in Cardiology is a section of the National American College of Cardiology, and they have 10 chapters all over the country. Our goal is to have a chapter in every state. And it's a group of really dynamic women at the national level who are working very hard to get other women cardiologists all over the country engaged. And I think that somebody has to take on and start. And again, there was something that was not something that I trained for. It was outside my comfort zone, but it was extremely rewarding. We had our first chapter meeting in the end of October. It was very well attended. We had a great networking session afterwards. And we will hopefully have a meeting maybe twice a year from now on, all over the state. So I am really excited to have been part of that, and I learned a lot from that experience. And I met a lot of fabulous other women cardiologists through that experience.
So you're a doctor, you're a cardiologist, a mother, you have your own practice that you are with other doctors. Why, obviously a lot on your plate, clearly, why take that step to sort of, obviously beyond helping people, but to really say, this is how you have to advocate for yourself, because it's a lot. That's a platform to push forward. That takes a lot of energy, a lot of focus, and time.
I agree, but I feel like if you're passionate about something, you will find time for it. And I feel like I have been very fortunate in my life to be surrounded by people who've helped me grow and who've never stopped me from growing. And I think that I need to let other people know that this is a possibility. I am in private practice. I'm married for the last 22 years. I have 2 children. But all of that, I want to make sure that people know that you can have all of that and still be passionate about what you do. And I think sometimes women are intimidated by just career success because they feel they can have one or the other. And I think the more people you see who are just normal people going about their normal lives but still can do other things that they're passionate about, you get more people engaged in the
Right.
process.
It is possible. It's just knowing how to navigate.
Right.
Right.
And I can always share, whatever I did or whatever mistakes I made, so you don't have to do that.
Do that. Well, if you want to reach out to Dr. Singh, we have her information on the screen. Dr. Toniya Singh. She's with St. Louis Heart and Vascular. You can visit slhv.com for her contact information or call 314-741-0911. And thank you for being here. It's always great to have a guest where as you're saying something, I'm processing and taking my own notes. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, well, there's more STL Live right after this. Please stay with us.